I'd like to start off by saying I think that it is the sign that you've moved up in a class if you can have several drinks around you.
Which you like. I mean, that's you've always been the kind of person that has to have several drinks. There's literally been times I've seen you sit with a glass of water, like a can of juice, like cola or something like that, and a cup of tea.
You have to.
Like just all three at once, and I'm just like, where is the need
You
for
know,
that?
it's a sign of elegance that, you're just so in tune with your body where you're like, well, what does my body need in this moment? Is it water? Is it coffee? Is it tea? Is it shite sugary juice? Who knows? But I'm just saying,
It's
I think
insane.
it's a sign of elegance and class that one can have a glass of water and a cup of coffee next to oneself.
But like, why? Like, there are things that taste so different. To drink both around the same time is just weird to me.
How?
I don't know. I just like if I'm sitting and I'm like drinking coffee and then immediately take a swig of water right after. It's just I don't know. It just seems weird to do that.
All right, well, maybe here's an example that you might kind of see the sense around, right? If you are out for dinner or you're just out getting something to eat and you order a soft drink and you order an alcoholic drink,
But I would never. I mean, if I was ordering an alcoholic drink, I would only have a soft drink with it if it was to mix.
so if you were out,
Like I wouldn't order a beer and an iron brew, but I would order like a whiskey and like a cola to mix with it.
so you wouldn't have like a juice or a water with your dinner. You would just have the alcohol or whatever it is that you're drinking.
Aye, like if I was, aye, if I would either have, if I'm having like dinner out somewhere, either I'll have just a glass of water, or if I want to have something alcoholic, I'll have a beer or a glass of wine with it. But I'll only have the beer, glass of wine, and also a water there.
Right, okay, okay. Well, what about at breakfast time? Like, would you have a cup of tea and a glass of orange juice?
No,
This is crazy to me. You've never stayed.
this is crazy to me. Like, what are you on
You-
about? You're acting as if having drink two things at the same time is like just normal. It's no.
But it's not like, it's not like you have a sip of orange juice and then I don't know. I don't know how to describe this to you.
Like I would finish. I would like if wanted a cup of tea, I would make a cup of tea. I would drink the cup of tea, and then if after I finished the tea, I felt like having a drink of orange juice, then I would maybe go and get some orange juice. But I wouldn't have both of them next to me at the same time like that. Like it's.
I don't know. I just maybe you're just not as affluent as me, and maybe
I
I
just.
like a cup of tea and a glass of water simultaneously.
That's insane.
How is it insane? And hey,
I
look,
just.
ableist,
What do you mean ableist?
branding people, unnecessary names, like insane. Just because I like to have a couple, two or three beverages beside me at one point.
It's just. I just can't. It's just weird. It's just weird, just to mix stuff like that.
I don't know. I think it's keeping your taste buds on edge. Keeping them on their toes.
I'll be very curious to see anybody if people are listening to this podcast. Like, are you me? Are
Yeah.
you me? Where you have one drink at a time, or are you like John and I'll have multiple drinks at the same time that you'll take? Like,
I think that multiple drinks
I'm very curious.
probably win. I mean, everybody.
I think I'd be curious if this was one of those things, one of those many things in life where
Nobody talks about it, so
nobody talks about it.
and nobody knows.
And like everybody assumes that everybody does the thing they do, and then when they hear that other people exist, they're like, "What the fuck?" Like
Wow,
it's
you
like
exist?
it's like the people. Aye, like it's like when you talk if you're with a group of people and you bring up and you just say like, "Hey, did you know that some people wipe their
Yeah.
arse while sitting down, but some people like do it while they're standing?" And like half of the group will be like, "People fucking stand to wipe their arse," and the other half will be, "People fucking sit down while they wipe their arse." Like they'll just be divided. It's just one of the things that nobody ever thinks about ever, but it's like a half and half of the world.
And the other side's so
And
offensive. It's just so
Aye,
offensive.
the other aye, because you just never in your life think about the other people existing. Because I mean, you'll never watch another person wipe their arse.
Never.
It's just not something
Nah.
you do. So you would never know that people do it differently.
Well, imagine voyeurs. They people who probably have a preference.
Right.
But like,
People with shit fetishes looking through the window like, oh, she wipes her ass storing up. No, I can't get after
no,
that.
she's a monster.
No, that's not right.
What do you do?
Like, I might be a creep, but I've got standards.
What do you do?
Like what? How? Like Mars? That's it.
I don't.
I mean, I feel like you need to sit because when you're sitting down, your arse is spread more.
True.
So you're getting married. I feel if you stand up, your arse cheeks go together, and then you're getting the shite all over your arse, and you're not wiping it properly because you can't get in there as well.
Well,
so I feel like you have to be sitting down while you
I don't quite stand up. I kind of hover and squat for the same purposes that, you know, the ease of access kind of thing. But to me, it would be more difficult to sit down and do it. Like
I just lean to one side. Like I'll just slightly lean and have one arse cheek up, and then I'll like get in there.
Well, you're not sitting down then, really.
I'm still in the sitting position. I'm just leaning to a side.
You're drifting on that toilet seat, and you're trying to tell me that you're on it.
I mean, no. Well, the sentiment of having your arse wide open is there because your knees are still bent the same way. Because that's what it is. The more, the higher you've got your knees up. Like the closer your knees come to your torso, the wider your arse is spread.
True.
So like you're still in the same position. I'm just leaned over so that I can actually like get in.
You can achieve the same method though with a squat. You know, kind of off the toilet.
I mean, kinda, but like that's the reason those like squatty potty things exist.
Yeah.
Those little stools that people have that they put their feet up so they can get even more leverage to have their arse spread even more, so that their shite comes out easier.
The squatty potty though, the design of that is to kind of elevate your feet because apparently that's a more natural for our body's kind of position. Like I don't think we were meant to get at a 90-degree angle.
Normally, and when as we were like, you know, cavemen and stuff like that, obviously the way we would shit would be that we would be squatted right down to the ground, so our knees would be like right at our chests. Like it would be like, so that makes.
There's some
sense. Do you know what I hate?
So I was going to say, there's some people in the world today that are like that basically do that they can sit comfortably as if they are a bird, like their knees to their chest, like feet flat on the ground. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there are some countries that have toilets that are just holes in the ground that you squat over. So
what were you going to say?
I was going to say something that blew my mind because of that whole thing where you want to have your knees high so that when you're shitting, your arse is spread so that it goes out easier and all that, right? Something that blew my mind, right? I'm not a short guy, right? I'm like 6 feet, so that's like slightly above average height.
You're 5'6".
So it blew my mind that I was in a public toilet somewhere where I sat on the toilet and my feet were dangling.
Where?
Like, my feet were not... This toilet was so high off the ground that my feet were like... My toes were like barely touching the ground while I was sitting
you were
on
in
it.
A disabled,
and I was like...
You were in a disabled toilet.
It was a regular, like, toilet stall.
Wow. What a throne.
I was like... It was just like in the middle of like a shopping centre. Like the public toilet in a shopping centre. I just went into and I was just like, I sat down and I was just like, what the fuck? And it just felt so weird to sit on a toilet that high up, where I'm like literally like my feet are barely touching the ground. I'm just like, I feel like I can't shit properly, like sitting like this. It was so weird. I was just like, what? Who the fuck made these toilets? Andre the Giant? Like, what the hell?
What would you?
It's actually insane.
Would you rather a toilet that was too tall or a toilet that was too short? Because I feel like if it was too short, like you'd get a wee fright every time you'd sat down because you'd be like, "Oh, the toilet's not there." Oh, it is.
If it was too short, I would like there to be a handrail to hold on to as I squat down, so that I don't fall, man. So I don't just fall. Like if there was a rail there to like hold while you like went down. That'd be better. That'd be good. But if it was just there and there was nothing to hold on to, I would be like, oh.
Doesn't matter if it's tall or short. Just get you a Stena toilet. Just get you a Stena chair toilet.
No, exactly.
That's crazy how there's so many different places in the world that their version of a toilet is something that we would never have thought. Like the Japanese bidet.
Yeah.
That's
The bidet is amazing, and I'm happy that it's becoming a more normal thing in like Western countries because I really want one.
it'd save a lot in toilet paper. All that, yeah.
Saves a lot in toilet paper, cleans you better, probably feels nice as well. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Some people might think it uncomfortable or whatever, getting water sprayed right up your arse, but I feel like it would be a lot
I
better.
guess a lot of people aren't really intimate with themselves in that area of their body. So, you know, like enemas, or you know, if a doctor's checking you for prostate cancer, you know, it's just this. It's I don't know. People just see it as like an exit trash hole. So
Yeah,
they would,
like I'm no the kind of person. Like I'm no the kind of person that's like that. Like if I'm with somebody that I would ever think to put anything up there. But I'm also not the kind of person that's like freaked out by just like things that need to be done there. Like for example, getting a prostate exam. Like if I go to the doctors and I'm like, "You're something up with my arse," and they're like, "Right, I'm gonna have to stick a finger up there," I wouldn't be like, "Oh no, I can't. I don't know if I can do that." I would just be like, "Right, okay, it's getting done. It needs to be done. Like I'd be fine with it."
It needs to be done. It's not like
I've had to take enemas before.
I didn't mean to sound so interested in that, but go on.
Because I had what do you call it? The hemorrhoids. Yes, I had hemorrhoids quite a few years ago, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it was literally like every time I would like squat to sit on a chair or get up from a chair, it's just sharp pain on your arse, like right on your arsehole. And it was just like, and it was like happening for like a week, and I was like, right, this is fucking no going away. I don't know what's going on. And I was immediately like, this must be like hemorrhoids or something. And I went to the doctor, and they had to like finger up the arse or that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I would rather that than deal with this pain anymore. And then they were like, you've got hemorrhoids, you'll need to take these enemas. And basically, I think it was twice a day for like a month or something. I had to stick one of these up my arse, and I would just do it while I was in the shower and that.
Did it work?
It was I mean, they went away, so definitely worked. But it was one of the things where at first, yes, having to shove this wee thing up your right in your arse every day was uncomfortable and a weird thing. But you know, I got used to it, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. It was definitely a lot better than dealing with a sharp pain on my arse every time I wanted to sit down or get up.
When you were, I've had like a wee doctor check around my bumhole too, right? It's obviously one of the most awkward moments, maybe, in your life. Like, a lot of guys will eventually go to the doctor or a proctologist to kind of get their prostate checked, just obviously because of certain types of cancers. And a lot of guys don't do it because obviously they don't want somebody poking about in their arse. But like, see, while my exam was happening, I was kind of giggling like a wee lassie. No, because I enjoyed it, but because I was just kind of taking the whole moment in, where it was like, I'm lying here in a hospital bed and a doctor's just sitting with her finger up my jacksie. Like that was hilarious to me. Like I'm sitting in the moment and I'm laughing at myself. I'm like, you know, you little scamp. How did you get yourself into this situation?
No, just having somebody's finger up your arse is just kind of hilarious.
It's so weird.
It's a funny thing.
Especially when nobody there's enjoying it.
Aye, nobody's there because they want to be doing it.
It's as if there's a doctor like first in the queue, like where are they? Line them up.
I do wonder what the ratio of doctors that get into very specific types of medicine that do it because they're into it, like feet doctors and like proctologists and all that. Like, what is the ratio of I'm a foot doctor, also I've got a foot fetish? Like, I
would love to know that. Genuinely, so shady.
Genuinely very curious. Like, if they could take an anonymous survey in like all doctors that are like in very specific fields and be like, are you into this? But also, it could be the kind of job that just turns you off it as well. Because like it could be, I'm into feet, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna become a doctor that's like a foot doctor, and then like, you know, after a couple of years, you're like, man, I'm fucking so tired of feet.
Aye, somebody just shake my hand.
Aye, like god damn it, like it could be that thing as well, to be honest. So I don't know, but
that is weird. But like that would be so shady. I mean, if you're just imagine you go in and your doctor's just like, like you're fucking rubbing their thighs or dishing you medical advice.
Oh.
I don't know if I'd want to know that. You know, I think I'd prefer it if my doctor was, a faceless doctor that told me the thing I need to do in order to move on, and then I don't need to know anything about them.
You don't need to hang if he's getting off on the experience after.
Exactly.
No.
Plus, a lot of doctors are hypocrites. There'll be a lot of doctors that will tell you to avoid things and to not do that, and then they're out the next day doing it.
Yeah. It's
better just to think of doctors as people who give medical advice. Medical advice.
I mean, at the end, that's the thing, is like people that do us very do jobs like that. Like it's a weird thing because like a good example is I've heard a lot of chefs will say that they obviously cook a lot of really good meals, and like they cook a lot of stuff that's very hard to make and all that kind of stuff, and like really hard work into making all these like ridiculously crazy meals and stuff for people like all day. That's their job. But then they'll go home and they'll have like a microwave dinner because they just don't want to cook anymore. Exactly. Like, even though it's their passion and they love doing it and it's their job and they love it and all that, as soon as they get home, they're just like, I just don't want to cook. I want to just have something. I just want to eat something, and they'll just like apparently a lot of chefs have just got horrible diets because they just, at the end of the day, when you're working all day, cooking all day, last thing you want to do when you get home is cook a meal.
Exactly, and the amount of effort that a chef puts into, like, even just, you're only waiting 20 minutes, but that chef's prepped for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then they're cooking it, and then, as you said, like, they can't be bothered going home and being like, oh, I'm going to have that at the restaurant.
Yeah. It's like, 8 hours of high stress cooking for all these arseholes that don't appreciate my food. Or it's like, as soon as they get home, they're not thinking, I could really go for cooking something.
Aye.
Just no, man. Cannot deal with that shit. Which is hilarious because a lot of people would just assume, oh, chef, oh, you're a chef, you must cook yourself such nice meals every night and all that. And it's like, no, just nope.
Nope.
That's not the case at all.
It's probably better for like people to realise the difference between what's good as a career and what's good as a hobby.
Mm.
Like we're talking about, like, if you have a hobby for feet, the last thing you want to be is a kind of feet doctor. The same as like if you've got like a passion for food, maybe the last thing you want to be is a chef, because it'll ruin that magic.
It's an interesting thing because there's some people will be like, there's that saying of do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life and stuff. Yeah, but it's like it's so different. Like, some people would do a job like, oh, I love cooking, I'm going to be a chef, and they'll love every minute of it and they'll love their job. And there's some people that will be like, I love cooking, so I don't want to get a job as a chef because it'll make it work instead of fun.
I know we haven't really spoke about like sorry, I know we haven't really spoke about a theme for this episode, but definitely like I think what we're really kind of spoke about for the last wee bit is how there's a lot of 50-50 splits.
Yes.
No, like 20% and 80%, it's like straight down the middle. You either agree or you don't.
It's it's just there's a lot. It's interesting when there's subjects that exist in the world, or specific things that exist in the world that most people just assume everybody agrees on, and as soon as they find out that there are people that don't agree on that thing, they're like, what the hell? They're like, it's the craziest thing to them, because it's just not the kind of thing you think about.
They wouldn't even consider
that the alternative could exist.
Exactly, because they're just so either used to the kind of their own way of life or whatever it is, wrapped up in their own kind of bubble.
I mean, it's the simplest things. I mean, people do it every day. Even like just simple things like specific foods. So a food that's like seems universally loved, and you meet somebody and they're like, oh, I don't like that, and you're just like, it takes you back a bit. You're like, what? But everybody likes that. But I've never met a person in my life that didn't like this thing, and you don't like it. They're just like, what? And you're a freak.
I don't like baked beans. I hate them. I actually despise them.
That's probably a weird thing in the UK, but I think outside of the UK is probably not that weird a thing.
It's so embarrassing. Like, when you order breakfast, or you're out, say you're out for your breakfast or something like that, and you have to specifically ask no beans or beans separate.
They do look at you
Because
like,
if you don't, you're getting the beans are getting slapped on that plate. Every single item is getting touched in bean juice, and you'll just taste the beans anyway, even if you scrape it.
True. Yeah, you would think beans would come in like a separate wee like cup container.
Or you keep them warm. I don't know.
Aye.
I don't like them anyway. What do you think is a food that you don't like that everybody else would like?
I think the biggest thing that I don't like that most people would be like, what? Is probably peanut butter and just peanuts in general, just nuts in general. I hate all nuts. I hate peanuts. I hate peanut butter. I think it's fucking rotten. I don't know why it's so. I honestly can't understand why it's like such a popular like thing that people just love so much. I think it's so disgusting. Every person I've told that, every time I tell people that I don't like peanut butter, they genuinely are like, "What the fuck?"
The American though.
Oh, I mean, definitely more Americans for sure, because that is a huge thing. Like, peanut butter's not really that big of a thing here in the UK. Like, you can get it in that.
It's a staple. It's a
but,
staple.
Yeah, in the US, it's like a staple snack. Like, people fucking love it over there. So, yeah. It's,
I mean, I like it. I'll have a jar of it, but I couldn't tell you the last time I used it for anything. Do you know, I probably use peanut butter more for cooking than actually enjoying it itself. If that makes sense. There really isn't any nut out there on this earth that you like.
I've tried so many different nuts, and I've never liked them. I've tried hazelnuts, I've tried monkey nuts, I've tried peanuts, I've tried peanut butter. Every one of them, I'm just like, eh.
Do you like Nutella?
No, not really. Honestly, with Nutella, I don't really feel like I taste any nuts in it, but I just think it's too much. Like, I really like chocolate. I'm a big sweet tooth kind of guy. I love chocolate, but like just a pure chocolate spread, I'm like, that's just too much chocolate. Like, I like to have something with my chocolate, like caramel or nougat or something like that. But just pure chocolate, it's like, that's just. There's not.
I mean, Nutella isn't pure. Nutella
isn't pure. Like, it's got nuts in it,
yeah.
But like, for me, I've tried it before, and I don't really taste the nuts in it, to be honest.
I
would say like I've tried many things with nuts. That's like as well. I've tried many things that have nuts in them to be like, maybe it's just if it's way something I would like it better, but I don't like Snickers. I tried them, you know.
What?
I can't eat Snickers because of the hazelnuts in it. I can't.
Even this is a professional podcast. Why are you using that foul language?
It is not good. And I've tried Reese's peanut butter, you know, the most famous peanut butter, you know, snack food, I would assume.
Well, the way you're talking, I definitely know you're racist.
And what? What?
The way that you're talking, I know that you're racist.
How is that? How is that a thing?
You said I don't like Snickers.
Oh, fucking hell. Shut the fuck up.
You're so late to the joke.
Jesus. I've definitely heard that be used before.
Yeah, it's an old joke.
That's funny.
I
genuinely did not know where you were going with that. I was so confused.
See, I kind of thought you got it and you're just kind of brushing right past it, and I was like, no, he's not got that. He's not got that at all. He's totally misheard it.
No. I genuinely just did not get that at all.
I have a piece of information for you, which I think our audience may love.
Okay.
You say you don't like nuts. You're like, I hate nuts, tried them all, blah, 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 I hate them all. I know why you don't like nuts.
Okay, why is that?
Halloween, 97 or 98, when we went out trick-or-treating, I think you were a vampire. I think I was a ghost.
Right. I'll take your word for it.
And I remember you that night were so disappointed at the amount of monkey nuts that you got.
That just was like
moaned about the amount of monkey nuts you got, and honestly, you're just obviously thinking to yourself, like, I've got this amount of monkey nuts. Imagine if I had that amount of chocolate.
Well, I don't think that's I don't think that was the cause of my hatred for nuts. I think the reason I was so upset about getting the monkey nuts is because I don't like them. I think I knew by that point that I didn't like monkey nuts because, I mean, for other people that outside, like, I don't know if this is a thing in like the rest of the UK or if it's just Scotland, but like when we would go out on Halloween, that was like a very normal thing to give kids, was like
monkey nuts.
It would usually be like a wee plastic bag with some monkey nuts in it and some other stuff in it, and it would be like a wee goodie baggy stuff that you would get in a lot of places, a lot of houses.
And sometimes, sorry, you were saying that like we went out trick or treating, but we would have called it guising.
Yes, we call it. I've actually talked about that before in my streams and stuff. Like, talked about how like guising is like quite different for trick or treating. And, you know, you would be expected when you go to certain houses, you would be expected to have a joke or a story or a dance or a song or some kind of thing to show off.
It was literally the X Factor.
It was literally, it was fucking, do you want your fucking free chocolate and
you're going to earn it?
Monkey nuts, so you fucking better earn it. Sitting there with our buzzers, Xing you, and you're like, no, you're not getting shit, get out of my house.
How many, like people sitting in the house were just sitting having wine and just sitting, watching the Waynes acting like Simon Cowell, like they were fucking rotten. I only gave them peanuts.
the amount of fucking the amount of parties that were going on when we were out, guys, and you'd go and you'd be like, you just knock on the door, they'd open it, and there'd be like fucking 15 adults all sitting drinking, having a great time. They'd all like, oh, come on in,
tell
everybody.
The joke.
Oh, what's your joke? And then you'd tell the shittiest fucking joke, and then they'd all die laughing. Like, that's fucking. And you'd just be standing there like, right, can I get my chocolate butt?
I know, they kind of wanted to keep you for a wee bit, as if you being there was fun for you.
It was their free entertainment. It was their free entertainment for the night. Like all the kids coming and telling all their shitty jokes and doing all their shitty talents. That was their entertainment for the night. Aye.
They probably ripped the back off them the minute.
Aye, as soon as you went out, you're like, did you see the state of that kid's dancing? Fucking shite, by the way.
See that costume? It was fucking shite.
What even was that? But
I don't know. We had some rare times at Halloween.
It was good times, yeah. But it was always great when you would meet when you would bump into other groups of kids, and they'd be like, see this house, by the way, giving you full bars of chocolate, and you'd be like, right, fucking, let's go. Let's get down there right now.
There was peace in Halloween. Like there wasn't any. I don't know. It was weird. Like when we were talking in previous episodes about Americanisms. Like when I watch American Halloween TV shows, it kind of seems like there's always the bully kids out to steal Wayne's candy. I've never people say that Scotland's a pretty harsh country and it's like pretty violent and stuff like that, but that's one thing I've never experienced as someone or heard about it.
We don't live in like this really like nice. We didn't live in this like nice town that was like all peaceful and all. Everybody was really friendly and all that. No, there are a lot of fucking junkies and arseholes and like scumbags that live in this town.
Shout out to Criminal Place.
It's like literally like not a great town. It's got a lot of shitey people in it. It's good and bad. But at Halloween I never ever dealt with like bullies and like older kids and teenagers like that would run about and like try and steal shit for you or like just throw eggs at you or anything like that. To me I don't think that ever really happened.
It's a weird thing, like when I see it, like, or maybe you're the same, when you watch it in American TV programs, it just kind of seems so unrealistic. Like, it's just kind of like, where did that come from?
I'm just like, I'm very curious, like, if that is actually a realistic thing in America, where, like, if you were out as a young kid, like, if you were out with an adult, like, you were at that age of, I want to go trick-or-treating without my parents and just my pals, but not quite old enough to be able to defend yourself for, like, the older kids. Like 10, 11 would be that age. Like, is that an actual thing where you would be worried about, like, teenagers that would be running about on their bikes, like, throwing eggs at kids and, like, try to steal their stuff and that? Like, is that an actual genuine, like, just normal thing that would happen? Or is that just, you know, classic TV, just like dramatising it, making it way worse than it actually was?
I don't know. I think there's a kind of like a kind of, I don't know if a system's the right word, but you know, I think that especially in our country, like if you see something that is really wrong, like say an older kid attacking younger kids, you'd be like, here you,
Aye,
Do you know what I mean? Like
aye.
you would challenge it. Like I don't know what it's like in America. Maybe a lot of this stuff just goes kind of unchecked because either you're no fit to deal with it or it's none of your business. I don't know. It's kind of down to you. But out here, like if pretty much MD, I mean, you could be like the tiniest wee woman, the oldest age you could think of, and she would still turn around and go, "Here, you
Aye.
get that stopped,
When
fucking
they
away
put
and
up
play
with
at your own bit." Exactly.
Yeah, wasn't really a bad thing. Yeah, I don't think.
No.
If you would, I'd say usually if you got bullied, and around here it would usually be people your own age.
Exactly.
It was
Yeah.
I very rarely would see people picking on people like much younger than them.
Aye, because it was definitely it was if you were seen bullying somebody younger than you, like it wasn't even like there was no credibility in it whatsoever
Aye.
for absolutely MD. You were just the type of cunt that just bullies folk. You
Aye.
know, you punched in instead of punching on your level or punching up.
Like even other bullies would be like, "What the fuck are you doing, mate? Leave
Exactly,
him, leave
aye.
that poor wee leave that wee boy alone. Like, what are you doing, mate?"
I love that video where it's you know what one I'm going to talk about. It is like the boys at the school and they're picking on this one guy who seems quite quiet and he's just kind of like ignoring the torrent of abuse that's kind of getting flung his way for whatever reason, like you know, and this wee whippersnapper, this wee upstart, just pure right up in his face, and he tries to hit him, and then the bigger boy just goes, "Oh, we're laying hands," lifts him off the ground, casts him up in the air like he's Simba in the Lion King, and then fucking throws him down into the ground like it was Goku's last spirit ball.
Fucking, it's a classic
It's
internet
so
video.
classic, yeah.
I absolutely love seeing the kind of videos of like just kid getting picked on, I'm rotating it, kicks the
Yeah.
shit out of the person, try to bully them, and it's just like you'll love to see it.
Like I've kind of been certain ways when I was younger where like I was probably a bully and like it's a really shitty thing like to kind of be because bullies are never kind of happy, but I don't know, like I think if it was called out more like bullying and it was made a case of you're a bully and you're doing the bullying and why are you doing the bullying? There's a reason behind it. Like people.
Aye, it's insane because like I remember that I always hear about people saying like, oh, people don't ever stop bullying, but as soon as somebody fights back, all of a sudden people like care. Like they're like, all of a sudden they're like, oh, stop fighting. But it's like, and I remember I'd hear that a lot, and I was like, is that really true that people like only step in when like the retaliation happens? But honestly,
Exactly, yeah.
over the years, I've seen so many fucking videos. So many videos where it's clearly in a school and one student is just got their phone out and recording because somebody's getting like picked on and like they're literally
and that's what kids do.
they're literally like no, it's not even just saying stuff to them, like videos of kids literally like hitting them, slamming them in the head, pushing them about, and nothing's been done. Nobody's stopping it. Everybody's just there. People are recording it and like just are laughing or just not paying attention to it. And then as soon as the person getting picked on has had enough, turns around and just starts hitting the other cunt, like beating the shit out of them. All of a sudden, immediately, everybody does just go like, "Oh, all right, hold on, break it up." Like it's like, all right,
yeah.
So it's all right for him, for this to be a one-sided thing. But as soon as this cunt's like, "No, right, let's throw hands," and starts beating the shit out of the arsehole bully, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, stop.
Exactly.
Like,
do you know what it is?
It's insane.
It tells people that that it's okay to bully people because even if they retaliate, you'll be seen as the victim. And it also it just teaches people that you shouldn't fight back because if you fight back, then you're just gonna get into trouble anyway.
Somehow,
do you know what I mean?
Somehow you're the arsehole for defending yourself.
Exactly.
It's insane.
And, yeah. I think that everybody should learn a form of defence, like in school. Like you should learn karate or boxing or whatever it is that kind of takes your fancy. And if someone is, because it happens far too often, people bully because they're bullied, and it's just a horrible cycle. And see, the more people that just kind of stand up for themselves and say, "I'm no letting you do this unchecked," the less it will happen. The more it's accepted that rather than just getting your phone out and joining in it, or just documenting the abuse, like take physical action to say no, that's not going to happen.
No,
we're not going to let you get away with that.
It's crazy. Like, I know that I don't think it's really a thing here, but I know in America, again, fucking what I was talking about comparisons to America, but like, I know a lot of schools out there have this no violence policy thing or something it's called, where it's like it doesn't matter what happened beforehand, but if you hit somebody for whatever reason, you're just like suspended for like a week or something. And it's just like, it's insane to me that's the way they do things. Like, it's like, I don't care what the context is. No, you hit him, so you're suspended. It's like, oh, so it doesn't matter that for the past 3 months he's been picking on me, shoving me about, treating me like shit, and then finally I decide to stand up for myself and smack him in the face, and I'm getting suspended for a week. How is that justice? How is that a fair thing? It's literally you're just making this worse because you're showing every bully in that school, oh, I can do what I want and get away with it. And hell, if I'm the kind of bully if I'm the kind of like wee arsehole that doesn't care about being suspended, but I just don't like this kid for whatever reason, I can just keep poking at him, poke at the bear until he retaliates, and then I get him suspended as well. And that's just an even bigger one for me. And it's like, I'm just
a horrible cycle.
Whoever, whatever administrator or whatever thought that up and thought that was a good idea, just like, you're a fucking idiot.
Listen, I think like maybe you should let kids kind of just settle it. Like, rather than being like, you know, a team of guys against one person who's maybe like more of an outcast or a kind of just kind of likes their own company type. Like, whoever it is that's got the issue, just one-on-one it.
Aye.
One-on-one it. And like, you know, get time to prepare. You know, it's not like celebrity deathmatch or anything like that. But, you know, I think kids kind of need to learn the way of the world, and you can't teach kids that the way that they get through in the world is by treating people like shit because people won't retaliate and then act like a victim when they do.
No. It's fucking... Oh, that reminds me... That just reminded me the whole like acting like a victim thing. Did you see? This was like last month or something, I think, or at least a few weeks ago. There was this video that was going about where this woman, I think it was a black woman, was in a shop in like a clothes store or something in some shopping centre in America, and this like fucking white middle-aged Karen bitch was there as well. I don't know what started the altercation exactly. I don't know if there was ever context for what started it, but that's what the black woman brought out her phone to start recording, because I guess she was like, right, I'm recording this situation because this bitch is crazy, and I want to know that I've got footage proving that I wasn't the one that started this, because you know how fucking cops are and all that over there.
Exactly.
So she like starts recording, like as soon as she starts recording this, like this Karen like comes up and hits her. For some reason, like just like goes to like try and hit her, and then as soon as she realizes that she's being recorded, she starts freaking out, acting like the victim, being like, "I didn't try and hit you. No, you record me. I don't want you to record me. You're the one that started this." Like all this shit, and she's like the biggest like fake breakdown shit I've ever seen, and like gaslighting and all that. And the black woman's just recording like that. This bitch is fucking crazy. Like, I've done nothing. She started on me. She just tried to hit me. You clearly seen it. And this woman's just freaking out. And like, she's sitting there freaking out this whole time, try to get her to try to say to her, stop recording me. She's like, I'm not going to stop recording you, because if I stop recording you, you're going to try and attack me again. And she's like, no, I didn't hit you in the first place. And like, yeah, I just got you on camera hitting me. Like, what are you talking about? And it's like, it goes so crazy, because like the woman starts like, at one point she fakes fainting, like just goes limp, and it's just like everybody's just watching her, like, and it's clear that nobody's taking it seriously. So like she immediately like gets up, like after that, like, all right, nobody's taking this shit seriously.
I kind of feel like she's went through like Carmen's greatest hits.
Carmen's greatest hits. Faint, it's so crazy, fault, man.
I didn't do anything. Yeah.
And the most insane part, right? The woman starts chasing the black woman around the store. Like, literally starts chasing her to try and get her to stop. To try and get her to stop recording her. She's like chasing her, trying to like grab her phone off her, and like nobody's stopping her. Like for some reason, nobody in this store is trying to stop this woman for just like trying to assault the woman recording her. And it's like, what? It's like, why is nobody stepping in here? Why is nobody stepping in? And
somebody trip her up.
Eventually, the police show up, and they're like. They take the Karen out and talk to her, and then they're talking to the woman that was recording it all. And at the end, their conclusion is, right, well, you, the woman recording it, who was clearly the victim in this, so you should probably just leave. And she's like, are you making her leave? And they go, well, no. And I go, she literally assaulted me and tried to attack me and chase me around the store, and you're telling me I need to leave. No, her. She's not getting arrested for assaulting me. No, she's getting left. No problem. She can go continue her day, and I'm being told to leave. It blows my mind. It actually blows my mind.
I know it's definitely not my experience, but like, I can't imagine how tired black people are in America.
I know. See
if that was one of us and a crazy white bitch started on us, we would be fully within our right. We wouldn't be challenged, anything like that, by telling her to just get the fuck. Nobody would bat an eyelid. Everybody would be like, he did the right thing. I would have done the same thing. But the minute that it's a person of colour, it's almost like they have to tolerate it.
It's like in their minds, they have to literally go through. In their minds, they have to go through the thought process of, is it worth me phoning the police to try and deal with this crazy person that's attacking me or harassing me? Because if I phone them, it could very well go that this white person is going to spin this, and the police are immediately going to take their side. They're just going to take their side, and I'm going to get arrested, or I'm going to get fucking stun gunned or something, or tasered or whatever, for doing nothing. There's
not a good scenario.
Like the fact that they have to go through that thought process to be like, is it worth phoning the police, the people I'm supposed to phone when this happens to you, to help me?
Yeah.
I mean, is it worth doing it? Is it worth risking?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's fucking crazy, man. I feel so fucking bad.
Let's normalise, like, if when people are acting like that, and it is mostly white people, and I think it's because there's a lot of white people out there who have been getting, they've had it great for so long.
The privilege why am I not allowed to be like this anymore? Why am I not allowed to get what I want when I want and be racist and harass people because they're no like me? How come I can't do that anymore? This is crazy. I'm gonna go ape shit about it, and it's just like, what? Okay.
What do you mean I can't? What do you mean I have to adopt new ways of thinking to be, kinder and more respectful to other people? Fuck that.
No.
In the Lord's name, Jesus Christ. You know the type of people. They're all about, they're all about Lord and Jesus and all that. And then, the minute it comes to showing compassion to their actual neighbour, they're like, no. It's so weird. I don't understand it.
Crazy people.
Mm-hmm. I say we normalise like really challenging people, like when they're having like breakdowns and that. Like, just go, are you okay? Like, seriously, are you okay? Do you need me to phone somebody? Like, who's your family and are they missing you? Do you know what I mean? Because if somebody's acting like that, they can't be, they're going through something. Either they're really insecure or they're really fearful. They're obviously racist pieces of shit, and that's maybe where it's coming from. But like, I don't know. Like, if I had seen that, I'd be like, I kind of say to the woman, you're a crazy lady. You need to take 5 minutes and go outside. Like, you need to leave because you're the problem.
Yeah.
It's not the person regardless of the colour, creed or orientation. It's not them minding their own business that's the issue. It's you having a pure freak out about it because you're not getting your own way, because your privilege is, well, I don't know. You probably still have a lot of privilege, but you're maybe being asked to challenge it a bit more, or to, do you know what I mean, or value it. I don't know.
It's people they can't fathom that they're ever in the wrong in any situation.
Yeah,
they're just like,
that they're doing really well. They can't understand the idea that they have a privilege that no one else does.
Yeah,
like they're so self-absorbed that they think, oh, everybody gets it as good as me.
They've no frame of reference.
No.
But other people's lives are like, they're just like, aye, well, this is just what it's like for me, so that's what it's like for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no.
Oh, I don't. Do you know? I used to say something or a while ago. I don't know. Like everybody's said kind of racist things and done kind of racist jokes, and I think I was saying something like, I was saying I don't see colour, and my intentions behind saying that were quite, or I thought were good, because I was like, well, I don't want to, I don't want to see people and see slurs or, but I had learned that what I was doing by saying that, and a lot of people do say that, like, and that's their defence. They say, oh, well, I don't see colour.
Yeah.
I love everybody equally. But when you say that, you're robbing that person of their identity. You're literally saying, I don't see you for who you are.
Yeah.
That's what that, whether your intentions are good or bad or indifferent, when you say it, that's how it comes across. And rather than saying, I don't see colour, I see everybody equally, say, I see colour and I see everyone. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to, I don't know, some people go and say, oh, well, I don't hate anyone. I'm not racist. I see everybody equally. And then their actions kind of say a bit different.
Aye. It's that classic defense of, I can't be racist. I have a black friend.
Yeah.
Or I dated a black girl once, so I can't be racist. It's like, that's not how it works.
I have something to add to this, right?
Okay.
This is something that's kind of, I don't know if you've heard, right? But Matt Damon has recently retired the F.
This whole thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, like, he's got a new movie coming out. I can't remember what it's called, Dark Water, or I don't know, something sponsored by Coca-Cola, no doubt. Whatever it is, the man has literally turned around and went, the meaning for me was never homophobic, and I realised that by saying it as a homophobic slur, and I'm not going to say it anymore. That's fair.
Okay.
To me, that's fair. He's went, look, I was saying it. I'm not saying it anymore. I've realised why I'm not saying it anymore. To me, he's seen the situation and went, okay, I'm going to own it. I'm going to say that this is what I did, but I don't do it anymore, and I don't plan to do it anymore. I think there's a lot to be respected for that.
I feel
the
gays.
The gays don't care. The gays don't care.
It seems like the kind of thing that's like, I mean, to me, my immediate response to him saying that is just like, it took you this long to realise that that's something you shouldn't be saying. Like,
yeah,
I feel like most people
there's a good point
kind of got that like quite a long time ago.
Yeah,
like,
early 2000s at least.
Aye. Like, if you said, oh, I used to say the F slur in the 90s when I was growing up as a young person because everybody said it and I didn't know it had such connotations, I could be like, alright, I get that. I get that. That was a thing. Like, a lot of people said it then. Probably a lot of people didn't really realise how much an offensive thing it was to a lot of people. But to be this year, 2021, to be like, alright, so I've just realised, by the way, that I probably shouldn't say that. It's like, were you late getting the memo on that? Like,
guys, what? I shouldn't say that word anymore. You're right. Like, to have that awakening or that realization now,
it's kind of crazy.
It's kind of like, where you been.
I did see a funny there's a thing I follow, a account I follow on Twitter. Well, it's not really a Twitter account. It is a Twitter account, but like that's not what the whole thing is. There's it's like an article site. It's kind of like it's a site like The Onion.
Right. Okay.
But like, they usually, but they do usually do more parody stuff about like the video game industry and like tech stuff, and it's called Hard Drive. And they just did like satire stuff, like satire articles about stuff, and they after the Matt Damon thing, they put out an article. I didn't actually read it yet. I just read the title and I thought it was hilarious. And it's titled "Matt Damon announces he now sees that using the F slur is gay." I was just like, that's so good.
That's so delicious. Good. That's so delicious. Just imagine like Matt Damon just sitting going, It's kind of gay.
I just opened the article and I just read the first quote they've got is, I feel pretty awful about this. It really sucks dick to know how much I've been hurting people with my homophobic language. It's so good. Oh, it's such a good thing. Oh my god.
I love that. I love a good sense of humour. To
Uh,
yeah. Maybe like Matt Damon's like one of those. Maybe it's like one of those 50-50 things where people will be like, yeah, he's made the mistake and he's owned it. Let's move on. And then like, maybe the other half will say, no, he learned too late, kind of thing, or not. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, at least they fucking eventually got it. But come on, Matt.
Well, this is the thing. Like, if I don't believe that it's never too late to do the right thing, or it's never too late to kind of change your ways or grow, kind of thing. I don't believe that it's ever too late. And maybe he is a huge, massive, racist, homophobic piece of shit, but maybe like he's learning. And
Yeah.
I think I would rather that he was, inclusive for a few years of his life or for the rest of his life, rather than spend the rest of his life in ignorance.
Yeah, I mean, it's people have to have you have to give people a chance to actually realize the things they've said before was wrong, and that they're like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. It is crazy to me when I do see people that are like, I've seen so many content creators with big followings that I watch, where they're like clearly allies to LGBT people and all that kind of like, and they're clearly very nice people and they understand what is offensive to them, and like they try to be allies to them and be like, I'm going to be a good supportive
be mindful
and mindfully what I say and all that kind of stuff. And yet there'll be people who will be like, oh, here, I found this clip from like 9 years ago in a video where you said this offensive thing, so you're clearly homophobic and cancelled. You need to be cancelled. And I'm just like, I mean, it's just like, really? Like, that was 9 years ago. Like, yeah, they said that thing. Yeah, that was probably not a good thing to say, but they've clearly changed. They've clearly learned that that's not a good thing to say, and they're clearly somebody who's actually actively trying to be, supportive and a good person, and be an ally to the LGBT community. And you're rather than wasting your energy trying to like cancel somebody who clearly is on your side, like, why would you do that? Why don't you use that energy towards somebody who actually is a problem, and not on somebody who 9 years ago said one thing that is offensive? Like, it's crazy to me.
For me, the worst part of it is a lot of reality TV. Like there's a lot of reality TV that maybe started in like the early 2000s, and you're watching, and it doesn't matter what reality TV is, but pick a number, anyone. You're watching a kind of character of that person, and you're watching that person go through a real experience that's being kind of devised and set up to kind of push a person to its limits to get them to break, because that makes good TV.
Yeah.
And like, there's RuPaul's Drag Race, for example, that can be seen quite as bitchy, like comments and stuff like that. There's like I think it's been on for 10 years now, and there's people who'll just get tuned in to watch like an early season where it wasn't as popular, there's maybe a bit more drama, and it was maybe a bit more problematic, and they'll still think that person is exactly the same person that they're watching, right, even though it was 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? They don't even take the second to see, I wonder what that person's doing now. They get so absorbed in their feelings towards that person that they go, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. It's
horrible.
There's a quote that I always love, for things like to reference things like this, where it's
Mhm.
like you can't open to a random page of the book that is my life, read one paragraph, and think you know who I am.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like you just can't. You just can't
Another
do that.
one. Another one I like is, I think it's from Edgar Allan Poe, and it's believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so true. Like when you're seeing something, you're only ever seeing it from your perspective.
It's
So when you're seeing something, maybe give yourself room and for possibility that maybe what you're seeing isn't the way that it is.
It's people, yeah. I mean, especially nowadays when things can be edited and changed and to have different contexts than the original. It's just
Yeah, we live in such a really funny age where information, you never know what version of the information that you're getting. You don't know how distorted it is, if it's ever stemmed from any truth at all. Like, I think you have to be really skeptical of what you see these days online. And no matter what you see, kind of have a pinch of salt attitude towards it, where you're like, all right, okay, but is that's obviously no real life. Treat it like it's fiction, because a lot of the time it kind of is.
I mean, it's just, yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. Do you know what's a weird thing? And I know this is a very strange place to take this.
Right.
But you know, I am a big fan of One Piece.
I know that, yes.
And I think that Oda, who is the writer and creator of the series, is a genius, and he has said there's a lot of quotes from the series that I think are very, very poignant about real life. And there's one kind of like this, kind of to that leans in this situation or this context of the discussion we're having that I think is very good. That I'm going to try and find real quick. I'll find it. So this is a character who, at this point in the series, there's a war going on between the Marines, world government, the people that rule over the world, and pirates.
Yeah.
And he says, pirates are evil, the Marines are righteous. These terms have changed throughout history. Kids who have never seen peace and kids who have never seen war have entirely different values. The ones who rule are the ones at the top right now, and we stand in neutral territory. Justice will prevail? Of course it will, because whoever wins becomes justice.
Yeah.
And it is a thing where it's like, it's true. I mean,
that's powerful, yeah.
It's like whoever is ruling, whoever is in charge of a place, are the ones who decide what is right and wrong. They're the ones that decide what history is and what people get to learn about history and what, I mean, it's this thing where you find out that there's so many countries that don't learn the full history of wars that happened because their country, their government wants things to be taught to make them look good. They don't want them to make them look like they were in the wrong and they were bad. And it's like, it's
Going off that, I think that going from our perspective in history, I was never really taught. I think when they taught us about the British Empire and all that kind of stuff, there was always a kind of separation from it, as if it was, it's I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe. It's like maybe they kind of knew the context of what they were teaching, and they couldn't obviously really tell us. Oh, by the way, guess what? See all these wars and all that, we benefited greatly. This is why you have the nation you have today. There was nothing like that in the history class that I remember. I kind of remember it being like, as if it was like a dainty old summer, spring day out, where it was like, oh, and the British just went over for tea. They got their tea leaves, they came back, and we set up trade, and that was it.
I mean, it's just...
But when you're older and you kind of get a more broad view of history, you realise, oh,
we were. It was a very evil and very
Stephen,
heinous thing.
are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies? I love that sketch so much. Look at the skulls on the hat.
So much truth in it, yeah.
We've got skulls on our hats.
Well, with that food for thought, it's time for me to go for dinner.
We have
dinner.
we have went a bit long today. It's over an hour.
I mean, I think we've asked a fair few questions.
Aye, it's been a good discussion. Yeah. It's been some good stuff.
I'd love to hear people's responses about what we spoke about.
Yeah, I would love to see some comments.
Itemised lists, like all the questions we asked, just like 1, 2, 3, 4. Just write all your answers.
Yeah,
we could collate it and make some statistics. I know Excel. I'll work Excel. But yeah, I'm going to go for my dinner.
Alright.
You going for your dinner?
Probably yes. I'll have my dinner in a bit. So.
But you haven't?
I've not decided.
Foolish.
I just open the freezer and be like, right, what have I got? I fancy having that.
I decide my dinner the minute I wake up.
That's insane.
I need to have something to look forward to, if that makes sense. Or not need. I don't need it, but it's really nice to be like, oh, I'm going to have that. Oh, I'm going to, you know.
I've had days where I've woke up and be like, oh, I fancy this today, I'll have that later for dinner, but it's not a common thing where I wake up every day and be like, right, this is what I'm having for dinner later.
I know.
It's not that. I don't know. It's not that big a deal. I just eat whatever I feel like at the time.
I think you do live very carefree. You're kind of like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't really plan things that often. I just kind of as they come.
Whereas me, I've planned my funeral, my wedding, my next 3 MOTs.
Jesus.
I haven't actually. I probably should. Well, the MOTs at least, but anyway, yeah. You enjoy your dinner, and I shall enjoy mine.
Yes. I will.
Bye.
See you later, Bendit. Bye.
I'll see you later. See you next week.
See you next week.
Maybe that should be the sign off. See you next week.
See you next week.
See you next week.